Boom. Thanks, Andy, for letting me know. Let me know if you can hear me now. Give me a thumbs up or something. I was just kind of rambling on anyways, so it's not so bad. But I was trying to explain. I'm not used to the phone being this oriented. It just, for whatever reason, I don't want to reset it. It just set me that way. But oh, and by the way, too, Andy, I don't know, Andy, do I got your number? I don't know if you ever messaged me. I know I believe text. Perfect. But I don't know if I got your number. You know what I mean? I'd like to have your number. If you don't have mine, I can give it to you. Let me know. I'll give it to you. I can't remember for sure. I deal with quite a few guys. I love you guys. But man, I just want to tell you, Andy, man, you do some great videos, man. I really appreciate it. Like the Maximum, I like watching the Maximum. I think probably me and you are probably about on the same page with those. So yeah, it is what it is. So anywho, I was putting a pipe together. But anywho, I was messaging a guy today, and what I was explaining is that how much I appreciate these things because my brain is kind of in a fog. When you run business, and I got multiple businesses, and you just kind of forget as you get older, right? You know how you have a childhood memory, or you smell something and it kind of brings back that, oh yeah, I used to have that special bike, or I used to have that special spot, or I planted a tree, or you did, I don't know, whatever weird things you do when you're a kid, stuff when you're younger. But anyway, when I was talking to him about this door, I believe it was 25 wide by 14 or 15 tall, and he was asking about an opener. And I'm like, well, that's kind of a loaded question, I'm like, what are we for? Are we doing? Is it going to have high lift, standard lift? Maybe it needs two openers, maybe it don't. Maybe it could do one trolley, and it has one of those secondary trolleys, one of those dummy ones that has like the shaft or whatever goes over. I said I'd probably ask the manufacturer, right? But anywho, when I started talking to the gentleman, I started thinking about it, and I was thinking, if you're starting out, right, you're not a seasoned hardcore grad, you're doing this every day, day in, day out, and you've been doing it for years, and you got somebody that's looking, right? Because this is just how I view it. This is just my opinion. I look at it and I go, the customer is more than likely looking for a deal, right? They've already scouted around. They're looking for a bar, right? They're looking for a cheaper price. So, and I've been to situations. So this is why I was encouraging him. I said I would probably make the customer buy the door, right? Because it's not, he has a set vendor, right? What's up, guys? What's Rusty? I see you popped in there. Like I said, it pops away though, I lose you. So maybe I can scroll. I don't know. And so anyway, I told him with this, I would probably have the customer purchase the door because it's a brand new build, so obviously there's no building there. I said I'd probably have the customer purchase the door. And the reason being is when you tie up the customer's money, that's a big ordeal, right? When you tie up the customer's money, they seem to think about things a little more. So if they're designing the building, and I've had this happen, things change, right? They all of a sudden they get a price back, or the tariffs, or a price increase, and son of a gun, hey, we're not gonna go another 3-4 foot higher in the ceiling. Let's do that. Talking to the builder or whoever, right? Well, they forget, because it's not their money tied up. They forget the chain of events, right? That I see we got one like too. Don't forget to hit the like button, if you would please. Thank you. But so there's a chain of events, right? So this door is going to probably take 2, 3, 4, 6 weeks to get order to come in and all that, right? So there's that time thing I talk about, and so as time goes on, within 2, 3, 4, 6 weeks, you're not a part of it, right? And they end up changing something, and then let's say it was on your dime, right? Now you're the guy that shows up. This is a special order door. It's going to either be no return, or it's going to be a huge hit to the wallet. You know what I mean? If you do try to return it, and you're going to have to wait another 3, 6 weeks, whatever. Huge conundrum, right? Huge pain in the hiney. So with this situation, I was explaining to him, I would probably have the customer purchase the door. I would do time and material, or what I'm thinking, I didn't tell him, but I was thinking whatever the cost is, I might double that and say that's probably what about my labor is going to be. I'm not going to exceed that, depending on where it's located, how far away you're driving, 2 hours, 4 hours, 6 hours away, one way. You got to get a hotel, all that jazz, right? Stuff adds up. But I just thought in my head I'd probably double it. You know, if the door's 5,000, charge 5,000 to install it. Because I told him, I said something that big would probably take me 2 to 3 days, could be 3 to 4 days, depending on the build, right? Because, you know, and I'd probably want to check the job site out before I was to go there, because it's going to be a wood pole barn, and we know how these things can go. You know, there's you know, the builder didn't figure it out right. It's super high. I told him too. Here was kind of the other second part I wanted to tell you guys, is that I would also potentially have the customer purchase a scissor lift, because I told him, I said I'd want at least 2 guys to do that job. You know, 25 wide, 14 or 15 tall. I can't quite remember, but and maybe 3 foot of high lift. So I said I would want 2 guys for sure, minimum. 3 guys would be nice, right? In case 2 guys in the lift or whatever, you know, one's handing. But I said I'd want 2 guys and I'd want a scissor lift. And I would probably make the customer purchase a scissor lift. And here's the reason why. This is why when I was thinking about this, and I thought, hey, I should share this, because I've experienced this, right? I've had jobs, like we did a big marina job. I think they were like 20-foot tall doors, sliding doors. We worked on, we had to replace the track on them. It was a nightmare job. And I rented a scissor lift. I had to order a special one, right? I had to rent a big monster one that could go up 20 foot plus. And I remember we were done with it, right? And sometimes in business, for me, right, I'm hustling, I'm you know, working my hiney off. I forgot about it. So I called it in, right? And I don't know if there's any secret password code I got to get, you know, but I definitely recommend when you do this stuff, if you do have to order one yourself, make sure you document it, right? Write down the time, write down who you talk to is really important. I probably even get last name. Say, what's your first name? What's your last name? And say, is there any validation code or something that you can give me to make sure this has been in? Because I've called it in, right? And I get a nice secretary that goes, okay, not a problem. We'll send a driver out there. You're all set with it. And I'm like, I'm all done. We're good. You know, and normally I rent it for like a week and maybe only need it for 3 days. And so, you know, I think should be at least a price cut, and there might not be. I already have it baked in that it's a week, but I don't care. I'm just done with it. I want to get it out of here, because what's going to happen, right, is at least like at the marina, the guys and other people there are going to be like scratching their head going, hey man, there's just a lift sitting over there. Now, theory, right, I'd like to say, I don't care. Go ahead, man. And I don't, if I know the person or something like that, and it's reasonable. But if it's just sitting there and I got to leave the keys in it, you know, somebody could damage it, somebody could get hurt, somebody could wreck the equipment, and now it's going back to me. Hey, we took the machine back in. We found a huge dent in it, spray painted. What are you talking about? So I call it in, like, I'm like, I want to get this machine off. But here, what I've ran into, they don't come pick the darn machine up. The secretary didn't relay it, got busy, or got snuffed under the table, whatever. And I've had a customer call me a week later, and they're like, hey man, is like, are you gonna ever get is somebody gonna come pick this lift up? And I'm like, what? I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, nobody's came to pick that lift up yet? What the hell's going on here? So I call them up. Hey, what's going on? We don't have nothing in, you know? You know, and I've had a couple times where it's almost like a sneaky little tactic or something, where they got a few more, you know, dollars on you. Now, you know, I mean, you do what you want, you know what I mean? You can try to raise hell, but sometimes it is what it is, you know? So then what happens is, now when these jobs would happen like this, I would personally, after hours, you know, and the job could be 15, 20 minutes away, you know, but that's 15, 20 minutes, man. You know, it adds up, especially when it starts hitting 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock at night, man. And so, you know, I got to drive out to the job before I can even go home, you know, and double check, make sure that lift got picked up. Because if it didn't get picked up, I got to call them in the morning. Hey, the lift's there. I'm in, seeing it. So that's why I recommend have the customer, it's on their dime, it's their property, it's their house, it's their business. They're going to see it every day. Like I said, it's on their dime, not yours. So not your problem. And I'd go through everything. You know, I'd make sure, you know, I'd validate everything. I mean, I'm not going to, you know how it is. We're not going to set the customer up for failure. But if they decide to change something, which I've had builders do that many a times, and they act like, oh, you know, well, didn't I tell you? Did I forget to tell you? It's not going to be a problem, is it? And I'm sitting there biting my face. That'd be a problem. Like, you knocked a foot out of the, like, I got to re-engine. That wasn't part of the gig. you know, so things add up. Let me see if I can read some of these comments. It's all goofy now. What's up, guys? All good now. Let's see here. That's not up to the standards you need. That is true. I like the fact that he was mentioning something already like Sunbelt. I mean that is a very good point. But I think you can mitigate that with I would make your standard like a lot of this comes down to, and it's a real pain in the butt. It comes down to communication, right? Like I tell them, say, look, like there's these two companies. I mean, I'm gonna need a 24-foot lift. Like I would probably spec it out, you know, or say like I'd probably say like who do you gonna plan on using? And they might say, well, I already have an account with Sunbelt, or I have an account with United, or whoever, you know. And you're like, great, you know, I'll get back to you. You know what I mean? So this is all going to take time, but I'd be on their website checking out which lift, and I'd say I would just tell the customer, say, here's the lift, here's the model number. I need this lift. If you can get this lift, and have them purchase it. I don't want some jalopy because you know, Jim Bob down the road, he, you know, actually, you know, I figured, you know, and that's where I would politely ask the customer to send me pictures. I'd be like, you know, did the lift get there yet? Yeah, they dropped it off yesterday. Mind just taking a picture of it, you know, send me a picture of it. And like I said, the situation will be different. If they're out of state or something or whatever, you know, obviously I get it. And if it's right down the road, you can go yourself. But if they're on the job site, helping, working as a GC, all kind of stuff, there's no reason they shouldn't be, you know, sending a picture. And like I said, that way, you know, plus I want to know we're playing ball. You know, we got good communication. I see a picture, perfect. Hey, did you get the door delivered yet? Yep. Hey, do you mind just taking a few pictures? You know, I can see it. Hey, you know, you might even want to do the jam. Now, I still on a bigger door like that, I'd probably still want to inspect it, do a detail is what I would call it, the day, you know, a day or two, whatever you're going to install it, because, you know, I'd really want to look at the jams. And that way, if I look at, oh, there's no center pad. Like, hey, man, and I'd have, make sure you get, what am I trying to call that word? It's called the shop drawings. You want shops with your purchase. Get the shop drawings, because if you get the shop drawings, it'll show how that everything where it needs to be, how everything's gonna be specced out. And I'd get the shop drawings, and that way, you know, I'd make sure the customer has a copy, you have a copy, and that way go there and you go, hey man, there's no spring pad, you know, or hey, we need a pad on the side, you know, you got something too. And I'd probably even have a copy that, you know, a couple extra prints of it. So when you go to the job, if the builder's there, send them, or, you know, here, this is what it's supposed to look like. Make it like this. Understand the same, you know, we're all in the same pictures, or on the same page, I should say. This is a real pain in the hiney looking at these comments. No, 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 no. Speaking of lifts, we had one of our lifts missing for a while. Recently, oops, see, it's fading. No, don't fade. Placed and didn't work for a couple years ago. Called us asking if we were ever gonna get our lift back. Left for 2 years. Holy cow. Wow. Wow. Yeah, I could see, you know, you start getting, you know, stuff happens. Rest of these guys. So I went to check on our job Monday for Monday, Dave, and there's a lift in the building. I'm gonna try to move our install to Friday and use it so I don't have to rent one. Nice, nice. Doo-doo. What's up, Rich B? Was it the cast? That's a cool name. Just took the leap in starting own company. Oh, nice. Doing this 7 years. I'm 25. I've learned a lot from your videos. Awesome, man. Appreciate it. Good for you. Stay tuned. Got questions? That's the biggest thing, man. Really, the best thing for Uncle Dave is if you ask questions, you shoot me a text, you shoot me an email. Remember, though, I'm not getting notified except for I do get my text messages notified, but I'm not seeing emails. I'm not seeing anything. Like I said, I don't know if I keep it that way. Something happened. I'm sure it's in the settings of my phone, but I kind of like it. I get glued to the phone once in a while. You know what I mean? Like it's addicting. You know, you Marketplace or the YouTube. So I kind of like it. I got stuff I gotta catch up on. You know what I mean? Like I'm getting behind. I got a lot of stuff to clean, organize. I got stuff that needs to be fixed. So, But that's why, like I said, you stick around. There's plenty to learn. Especially we got a great community of guys and a little bit of girls, some girls, and we like I said, we can all learn from each other. I hope you guys learn from me. I learn from you. Just like with Mandy, I love. He's got great videos on the residential side of stuff. So you got to check him out too. Do 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 do. Da, 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 da. Where is this? It says, did you get those videos I sent you from the 1 horsepower opener installed today, Dave? I didn't see them. Like I said, I didn't get notified. I'll check them probably a little bit later. I got dinner's going to be next, and I got to probably do my normal shower and stuff. I got a couple pipes I'm putting together right now. Some, whatever you call it, black pipe. But I'll check him out. Mr. Evan, he's out actually doing an install right now. I believe he's still on it. I didn't realize he was going to start. I think he started it after work. So I didn't know that. He should have consulted with me. I told him to say it's going to be a 6-hour endeavor, probably 6 to 8 hours, depending on, whatever. Because he's doing a 16x7. He had roughly, I could tell he had 2 hours. Maybe he's been messaging you too, Rusty. 2 hours for tear out, and then, which is normal. And then I told him you're going to probably have 3 to 4 for install. You know what I mean? And that's if everything goes smooth. So I said, might be a long night. So, but I hope he does good. Ta-da, da, 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 da. Do. Did you locate it? Hey, where's the amount? You, Montana. Subtitles. Mount Awesome. Have 3 uncles near Livingston. Nice. A few guys from Livingston. Good people. That's good. Are you up somewhere? There's a bunch of customers. What's he got? Can sell a few hours north. He says, I try to stay away from. What's that? Why? I wonder why you stay away from that area. Is it Bozeman? Glacier 2 years ago. Dang. Well, like I said, that was kind of my thing I was thinking about. Like I said, I was thinking about I feel like I had one more thing I was thinking about, you guys. I thought the customer, especially if you're kind of now something big like that, especially if a door's, I don't know exact numbers on it, $5,000. That's a big chunk of change to take out of your pocket, especially just starting out. And so have the customer tie up their money, go through everything with them. We got the scissor lift. I wanted to tell you about the scissor lifts or rental pieces of equipment. Even when I did that gate job, I wreck on it. Do you know what I mean? Like it was, what was it? Yeah, it was an hour basically in good condition driving. So I really didn't want to drive out there. I called it in. It sounded like it was all good. I had no way to check on it. So that's why those jobs far away are just kind of a little bit on the sketchy side. You know what I mean? Because you can't check on them. You gotta, especially if you got a rental equipment. So who else messaged me? I was thinking about that. I think Evan did. I seen Evan's picture. Only thing I gave him crap about is I told him, make sure you got some cardboard under those door sections, because it looked like he had the face laying on the sawhorses. So you guys got to remember, you got to always protect those, because that's the face. He might have, and I just didn't see it. So protect the face of your doors. With you can cardboard they give you, or the foam, just something, because most of them, I feel like I got. Yeah, most of them got the grips. You know what I mean? They got that grippy stuff on them. Some of them, unless you get a wood one or something. But see if I can see how to install this. Oh, nice. Other notes, you guys. Maximum trolleys yet? No, I have tried my best to stay away from them. Oh, Rusty, I thought you were right up there with them. I thought you'd been installing some of them. Yeah, I'm there with Andy. I think I just I don't know if they're gonna hold up. I know they've been doing them and they've been working out great, which is awesome. I'm so glad. But you know, I've been a big Toyota fanboy. And, I thought Toyota's, for a long time, Toyota's making really good product, but I think they're missing the mark on that new Tundra that's out. So I get real nervous. I heard a guy told me one time, I wish he's like a friend of a real distant friend of something, and I probably will never see him again. But I swore he told me, I thought there was something about 10 years. Buy something that's 10, I don't know if he was trying to say 10 years old, 10 years in production, and by the last year, by the last year, I remember that clicking with me, and I thought, well, that makes sense. I really think there's a lot of merit to it because, you think about it nowadays, we can research on the internet on these vehicles. And if I don't know I swear he said something about 10 years. And I don't know if it was just, it's been in production for 10 years. And that way you could see, by the last year of it, because sometimes they make tweaks, you know what I mean? Like I didn't realize that as a young man. Sometimes the car manufacturers do make little improvements. They something in the valve train, or the valve train body of the transmission, or I've seen radiators with transmission fluid that bleeds together. I think there's a new one. I think Eric O came out with another one. I haven't seen it. Maybe Rich is going to send me if it's good. I seen him come out with something again. He posted it on his was it South Main Auto channel or whatever. He's always really got stuff. I love it. So when I look at these new products, even yesterday, I'll have some videos coming out. So make sure you guys subscribe, all that good stuff. Stay tuned. When I'm sitting there putting that LiftMaster, and I'm just like, man, I'm already thrown off by the door. The door felt different. The steel felt thinner to me, and I don't know how much thinner they can get. But then the opener, I kept thinking, I was like, what if the old photo eyes like glitch out in like 3 days? You know what I mean? They do something goofy. So I don't know. I get a little nervous. Stall 3/4 T. Don't buy the first 2 years. Gosh, I don't even know if yeah, I mean, definitely, I'm agreeing, but I wish I knew if it was something he said, or something I dreamed of about 10 years. I don't know if it was like 10 years in production. He said it real fluently, he's like, buy something that's 10 years old or 10 years in production and buy the last year of it, and I always remember that stuck with me. Like, I was kind of young, so I kind of like, whatever. And it's like the older I get, I just go, man, like, all the stuff I keep seeing going on with these vehicles, and Ford and GM have got together and they built a transmission, and one's another, but now the other one's starting to have problems. It's like, it just makes my head spin. And we're spending, and I was telling the wife the other day, I said, I'm getting really disappointed. And I don't know, maybe some of you guys feel the same way. A little bit older guys, got a few gray hairs probably, but I just feel like I'm getting really disappointed in life. You know what I mean? Like it's a disappointment to go everywhere and just get like horrible service. Like I'll give you an example. So we went to one of my lunch places. That was fine. Really no big problem there. But it was afterwards. I go to use the bathroom, right? And this is like, there's a whole chain of other things, but I'm nitpicking here right now. I go into this place. It used to be a restaurant. It used to be a McDonald's. I went to a burger joint, a really good burger joint, that the place sold to another owner that ran the place to the ground. So that place closed. So now they're making a beer cooler, whatever, a beer room or something, right? Knocked off the doors. The building looks like it's getting hacked. I'm like, whatever, man. I go in there, look at the construction. I'm like, I think my 30-year-old could do better than this, you know what I mean, for construction. I'm just like, whatever. Go to use the bathroom. The door's clunky clanky like it always been. It's got the little slide lock. I'm thinking they can't ever get this door fixed and put a nice handle on it. It's been like this for years. Whatever. I go in to use the bathroom, realize it's got those dispensers, right? Does a little, and I'm thinking, good thing my hands aren't really super dirty, from a hard day work. I'm like, whatever. I wash my hands. I do my off, right? The toilet does not want to flush really that good. I have to stay, really hold it. And I'm thinking, trying to be courteous for the next person, right? I don't want them coming in and looking at pee water. So I'm, come on, all right. So then what really was the cherry on top is the paper dispenser. And it spits out like this much paper. And I'm like, are you kidding me? All right. Yep, hands still wet. Another piece. throw that, another piece, right? Then it's like the thing locks up, like it's either, it wasn't jammed, it's like they got a sensor on it because like people are probably stealing the paper or something, and I'm just like, and this is the stuff I talk about with the younger generation, right? Because there's so many things that are stalling you out like this, right? My hands are really dirty. There's so many things. I'm not will pay, right? But I'm sick of paying and not getting good service. That's the problem. So if I got to pay more for garage door openers and I feel like they're the same quality or better, not a problem. If I got to buy a car and it's twice as money as what my other car ever used to be, and it's better quality and it lasts longer and it seems more robust, not a problem. But it's like you're paying double for a more inferior product, and that's what's ticking me off. And like the garage doors, I don't know why it is. Got to be that way. I didn't think their EPA really had their hands in the garage door industry or something. I think they got their hands. I think everything's government funded by some way. But it's like LiftMaster. Why did they ever have to get rid of the ATS? Man, good, solid, mechanical. I love that thing for the Amish that I used to work for because, when they didn't have power, I knew I could program that. I've done it year after year after year after year. I've done it where I unplugged them, never had a problem. They come out with that digital button stuff, and lo and behold, I go to a guy that's got a barn, and he's shutting the power off, and now I come back, and I'm like, why are the doors all different, like ways up? That's where they stop. I'm like, what do you mean that's where they stop? He goes, I go, well, I'm sitting there scratching my head like, how is this even possible? And I told him, I said, are you shutting the power off or something? He goes, well, yeah, sometimes I don't want to walk up to the barn and shut the lights off. He's like, I just flipped the breaker. And I'm like, oh, you can't do that. Not with these openers. I was like, they'll lose their memory, time with every customer, but what's happening with this one with two of them. So just things like that, it just gets to be irritating. Rusty. 2 years. Dave wanted to call for tomorrow. The 8900 opener install 2 by size. And he said one is slower than other. Oof, that's a hard one to, Scotty had new Toyota pickup. Oh, really? Scotty had one? I'll have to check it out. See what his opinion is. I seen the car nut guy or something. He did a review on the motors. Scotty Kimler? Oh yeah, Scotty. Government is mandating too much to be on vehicles today. Yeah, that is probably true. They need the Dyson hand dryer, a couple of those. Those do work pretty good, But how it's like, you ever just kind of things kind of compound? Like I was kind of irritated like with the door situation yesterday. And then I was just, I'm in this party store that, I grew up around when I was a little kid. And it was a very nice place, you know what I mean? And now it's like pulled in kind of the risk to say, I got this girl, like, she's like staring at me and she's like, and I'm just like, whatever, man. Like, just please leave me alone. Like, I don't like I'm married. I'm good, man. I'm good. And then it's like, it just seemed like it was like, just get me out of here. You know what I mean? And I don't like that feeling. I just how products. I had to do what was a thermostat a couple days ago at one of the rentals, and it's a thermostat. I bought the most basic of basics thermostat. The old screw dial ones that got the temperature on top and it tells you the temperature on the bottom. Hey, that's golden. That's all I need, right? It's an older furnace in there. It'll be fine. And I'm sitting there and I already had to tear it apart to make it work, right? There's something wrong internally. As I'm tearing it apart, I realize there's batteries in it. I'm like, why the hell is there batteries in this thing? All it is like, I'm used to the one that had like mercury or whatever, and the spring mechanism in there, and then it would click on, by the temperature. That's what I'm thinking. Now there's batteries in this thing. Do the batteries need to be changed? Are they lifetime? Are they, this thing that's plastic, it's making all kinds of weird noise. And I'm like, for real? Quality control is just so much crap everywhere. And I'm so sick of fixing other people's crap where I just, the problem is the store only had one of them. Now I tried to be a good doobie, right? And I bought the circle one, and I also bought a digital one, depending on the situation. But it's a rental, I just need something real basic. I just need it to, they don't want programming or anything. They just, they were having some issue. They were saying it was going to 70 and dropping down to 42. Just need something basic. Even the thermostat, you know, and then I can't, they don't have another one. I'm already here, you know, at the job, and I'm just like, you know, and the same weird is I think the round one was actually the same price or more than the digital one. So I'm just like, so now I'm like, what do I got to do? Do I got to go on eBay? Find an old antique one? Because I've tore apart many of them just at, you know, trailers and cabins and houses. You know, I just want the spring one. You know, those things last forever as long as you don't. Customers want to pay more. Dave, customers want to pay more for quality products. I know I do. I wish we had more quality products. I'd pay. I would pay. I'm glad. I'm willing to pay. Castle's guys, we're going out to a bunch of the first gen 85s. It's shading away this year, so it seems original ones are getting to the end of their life. Interesting. Meanwhile, I still see 30 to 40-year-old openers that's still functional. Products are built to replace or be placed now. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I totally agree. I got some in the rentals and stuff like that. Yeah, same thing. They're 30 plus, you know, years, and you know the new ones just can't keep up. They just can't keep up. It's sad. It's really sad. You know what I mean? And you know what gets is like there's just not an option. That's what gets me. You know what I mean? Like if I go to the store and I'm like, oh man, this one's like $200 more. Yeah, but this one's gonna outlast double. I go, okay, that makes sense. I'm gonna buy that. You know what I mean? I'm depending on the situation. But the fact that we just don't get no option, we just get spoon fed. Here you go, eat the garbage. That ticks me off. You know what I mean? So, yeah. Meanwhile, Rich's own Honeywell 8. Look at T87, the gold ones. Look at you, Rich. You got all that stuff down. Smart dude. Maybe that's what I need to buy. I'm going to go on eBay. Forget the Tonka trucks with Tony. I'm getting me a thermostat. I really hope we see Made in USA quality back on the market again. Boy, wouldn't that be nice? Wouldn't that be nice? Gosh, I hope so too. I don't know. I'm hoping it is going to be a little bit of short-term pain for a lot of long-term gain, right? But the one thing that keeps crossing my mind is I go, well, I don't know what to say of it. I don't want to, you know, there's just so many things that are in the fire, you know, so many fire, but you know, there's corporate greed. So I'm not doubting that to some degree, but, you know, when I think about like the excavators that we've talked about, and even with the tariffs, the excavators, you know, those mini excavators from China and stuff, they are so much cheaper than what you're going to buy that's American made, or the main name brands, you know, Bobcat or Case or whatever. And I understand that those ones are probably a little bit better, but you know, for somebody that's just doing a little project, you know, hey, it's, you know, you want to spend, you know, whatever it is, you want to spend 80 grand or do you want to spend 15 grand? You know, well, you know, it isn't rocket science for the stuff. So it's kind of hard to say. So I was thinking about those chainsaws, even still, they don't have the mufflers are basically, they don't have no baffles in them. They're kind of old school. The cast brand doors, openers, do you see in your area? Maximum. Tallies, kick-asses have one. 16.7, so smooth. Really? Nice. Raynard, CHI, Amar. Northwest overhead, mostly with master, but G pop up here and there. Nice. Can't buy them anymore because of the mercury. Okay, now that probably explains why that one, you know, I haven't bought one in a while, at least a new one, and I was just like, what the fudge? I was like looking, I was like, where's the spring and the little thing in it? You know, I just thought, you know, come on, man. I was like, why is this guy battery junk too? It just felt, I was so disappointed for the price at least, too. What does it say? Raynard is most quality brands I've installed personally. Raynard's a little different. I mean, they seem like they do have a solid product though. Cass, you said just you started your own business. Where are you getting your materials? Yeah, the gentleman I was talking to today, he was saying something about, I think he was going through like, I don't know, it was just some overhead place, but I thought they dealt with that in Central, basically like Tanner's. And I was like, oh, they're pretty decent, but I don't know if they're marking it up. He said otherwise that he could go to Ideal, but I don't know if Ideal is like separate. So I assume he's talking Menards, but I didn't want to like say that. I just was like, well, I don't mind Ideal. I said Ideal is basically Clopay. I said it'll work if you need more of a budget friendly solution, and if it kind of gets basically you can do maybe I don't know depending on the price or whatever the difference is or the convenience. Doesn't scare me too bad. Service Spring, oh yeah, hoorah to Service Spring. Midland, North Central, all that north. Oh, North Shore, commercial door. Nice. That's pretty sweet. There's a lot of options, like I said. I'm assuming, obviously, to do that kind of stuff, obviously, you've been doing it for a while. So you got to have your, you got your EIN number and all that jazz, so you can be, a big boy, play with the big boys, all the good stuff, which is good. Stall Ideal from Menard, and boy was it something. He says, yeah, like I said, it's that's why when you deal with stuff like that too, for me, it's like I want to build sheet, and then I want a shop drawing. You know what I mean? Like I want to know all the parts and pieces that are going to come with it. What kind of springs, torsion, or they're not. Like is it going to be something goofy like easy set? I mean, obviously on a big door like that, I would assume not. Is it going to have a hollow tube? Is it going to be a solid tube or solid shaft? Sorry, is it going to be keyed? Is it going to have an adjustable center coupler in the center? I want to see all that stuff. Is it coming with perimeter seal? Is it reversible? Is it flag mounted track? Does it say? There's just a lot of little, lot of nuances that if you don't, that's why I'm always trying to preach that. That's why I always kind of go back to the body work, right, of a car. You know what I mean? Like for me, it was like scrub. That's good enough. Spray it, and it's like, yeah, that looks like crap. Like I should have spent another 2 hours, and made it perfect instead of. And in business, and a lot of things, but especially in the garage door business, I've had to tell Cap. He's learned over the years. Hey man, after hours when all the guys and the phones stop ringing and customers aren't calling you off the hook, that's your time to shine. You need to spend time looking at that confirmation. You need to be looking at the shop drawing. You need to be sending the stuff to the customer. You need to be in contact with the customer. You need to do all the stuff instead of just going, well, I went to, let's say, Menards. I put a door and I'm good. You're going to want a shop drawing because somebody's going to ask you. I guarantee it. The builder, the homeowner, somebody's going to go, hey, framing it out. And it's going to be on the fly. Like I would probably carry that thing in a little case with me or in a clipboard. I'd have my stuff in there. So if I was at the job or I'm close by or I can take a picture of it, especially if you don't have a secretary or an office and you got people in there and stuff, I had all that stuff with me typically because it just never failed. I'd get a phone call 2-3 o'clock, in the afternoon. Hey, the builder's here right now. He's trying to figure out where he should frame, and they're leaving at 5. And you're like, well, if you don't get that stuff done, you're going to be the one doing it, and you don't want to be doing it. You're not the framer. You don't want, you got to get nails, all that jazz. So if you can have stuff where you already did your due diligence and gave it to the customer, that's a big help. Tony's in the house. I see you jumped in there. Tony, you should do a live tonight, man. Do a live. I'd gang up with you, but I'm tuckered out already. I'm gonna be I won't be staying on here too much longer. I don't know what time it is. I can't see the old clock. So, but I got me a pizza in the oven, if you know what I mean. Oh, look at Tony. Let's go, Tony. I may have some grays, but I think I could take you. We're gonna have to get rid of him. He got Invicta doors on there. He's got the Surewinder. He just out. Oh, what I did want to ask, Rich, if you're on here, Mr. Rich B. I hate this because you do a lot for me, man. I'm not gonna lie, but I wanted to ask you. I don't even know if you know if on your sheet. I didn't look at it that close. I looked at it and I was wondering. Me and the secretary are going back today, and I love her. I really do. She's great. But we were talking about we were at 16 and some change for that yesterday, but it had insulated glass. I'm like, dang nabbit. Can I say, well, look, I said, hey, the price is looking better on this sheet. And she goes, yeah. She goes, well, does that have insulated glass? And I'm like, fudge. I'm like, you got me there. And I thought, well, I was thinking about it today, and I thought, that door still might be a better price because there was a 7% increase on Mr. Rich B's sheet. And I'm sure this door has been ordered, whatever it was, 2, 3, 4 weeks ago, maybe 6. So, you know what I'm saying? The price difference. I thought that door with insulated glass, if they even offer it, still would be a better price than what we got through Wayne Dalton. Just what I don't know. I haven't done my, but I'm trying hard, man. I'm priming the pump. I said, look, I said, hey, if you get anything, I said, residential wise, which I don't know if they do a lot of commercial or what size. They basically do all kinds of commercial. Let me know, Rich, on that. But I just said, you get any residentials, or a good candidate. I said, you let me know. I said, I'll call in. I did send her the link, so thank you for sending me that. I'm trying, man. I was so irritated yesterday. 9:30. Thank you. Found out that house is. Oh! Here we go. House is up 6%. And I hear our values now out the window. Oh, it faded. What is that? What's Tony got on here? What does that mean? He says, I heard our values now out the window. It's U value. Oh boy. Our value. Interesting. That's going to be hard. I'm not a U value guy. I'm a very R. That's very ingrained construction. That's building houses, so. So they do commercial? Okay. Is that sheet, though, does it show anything for insulated glass? I'm just curious. If you come up with a price, you come across it. I'm not asking. Like I said, if you just come across it, if you know what it comes out to, let me know. Like I said, we were at 16 and some change, 627 or something like that, I think, for the Wayne Dalton insulated sandwich door. Other thing too, Rich, and maybe Papa Tony can chin on this too. Tony, have you noticed with the Invicta doors on your tear outs? Because I tell you what, this grinds me. You guys understand, right? When you're doing the horizontals, they short you. Like the back hing's already dropped. You take out the existing door, right? And you go to put up the horizontal, and it's like 3-4 inches short. What the, you know what I mean? So does Invicta keep the track long? Because, for golly's sakes, if anything, I'd rather have them pass. I can always chop them and drill a hole. But when they're short, what do? You know what I mean? Yeah, you can put a little goofy piece of angle on there, and so I wonder about that. If Rich term that he's like, nope, hey man, those the horizontals are good, or they're long, or on the Invicta doors from Mr. Papa Tony. Ask customer what the R value of their walls are. And I match it. Ooh, nice. Yes, house is going to third party, and okay. So now it's U value. Oh boy. What's up? We got 6-7. Some change for what size? So it was 20,627 cost, and that was for a 16x7. 16x7 sandwich door, steel on steel, short raised panel, insulated glass though, which is nice. I'm glad the customer got insulated glass, so that was nice. So looking at what Rich had was around 12 and some change, so 1200. But that was without insulated glass. So the old secretary, she got me. She got me. She won that battle. Haas. Clopay 10-inch track is longer. Well, I need like the standard. I need like 12 and stuff. That's what I normally deal with. Tracks are long. Yay! Cost me a lot of time messing around. I built new brackets and all that. Just came into chat. Welcome, welcome. Victor has very good track. Heavy duty. The struts are heavy duty. They're, what does it say? They're not the green marked on the blue. If you know what I'm talking about, I do. It's kind of like it's like the Menards one. How the Menards ones always feel like it's like they use a cheaper steel. You know, they're real light, they're real flimsy. But the only thing is, like I said, Tony, I'm wondering, have you noticed, and maybe you haven't, enough to really notice or not. It's just when you put up the horizontal and you already got existing backing, you're tearing out, it's a redo or retro. Does how how the track is. Maybe you haven't experienced. Haas is probably good about it too, but the damn thing is like 3-4 inches short, and you're like, and either you can like take the backing and like try to bend it, where mine was though screwed into the rafter, solid one too. So I really wanted to hook into it because I was like, I'll fly with that. But nope, move. So I had to build one across the beams. I did my drop. I did a kicker. I'm like, fudge. I'm like, this is costing me more time. And I was like, oh, because the manufacturer shorted me 3-4 inches. Struts talking about. It says, oh, okay, insulated glass, 2-inch polystyrene. It wasn't quite a 2-inch door, because I know the 8300 is not quite a 2-inch thick door. The 8500 is, so it's probably like it's either 1.5 or like 1.75 is what they do for their thickness of those doors. So it wasn't a true 2-inch. Not sure, but I think you can get insulated glass. You can get you can get them the tinted frosted. Doing a couple insulated doors with insulated glass soon. That's cool. That's cool. Like I said, you really think about it. Should. I mean, it's kind of defeats the purpose. Even the customer was like, yeah, I mean, like, you're got an insulated, or why don't you have insulated glass? And he's doing the right thing. His garage wasn't like all super decked out, but he's trying to keep a little bit of heat in there. And I told him, I said, that's a very smart thing to do. I said, because you keep it 2 degrees warmer in here, lets the cars unthaw a little bit, keeps the house a little bit warmer, the decent wall. And I said, so I was happy. I was happy for that. I like them because I've seen frost on them too. I've actually seen frost. They sweat enough. And I've had them in my own garage. Like you run a little torpedo heater, they're sweating like a son of a gun. And they can stain and they can get the door frozen up. I've seen that happen where they get in the, extreme weathers. It's happened. And the door, it makes all kinds of noises as it comes up. So you really should know it sucks because it is a pretty big jump. It's whatever, $200-$400 on top of the door. So it's a huge cost, but it's one of those things. You're already there. You're already spending $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, whatever the number is. For another $200 or so or whatever, you get a little better product. 1 3/8 is probably about right. I know they're doing a couple 1 3/8. What is this Tony guy? He says we actually had to push the back to hook up yesterday to the Invicta track. So, oh, you had to push it back. Okay. Push the back in. Okay. Push it to hook yesterday. So Invicta track is track, so it's longer. Okay. Longer's fine, man. I can chop. I can't stretch. I could drill my own hole if I want it to be plumbed. You know what I mean? So long as it's longer, that's fine. It's just I can't stand when I have to deal with the manufacturer that's like the back hangs. You know, why did the old track line up, but the new ones don't? You know, it's kind of it's like sometimes like openers where they like to play around with their distance. That gets irritating too, especially in circumstances, you know, or like maybe, you know, you just got to be creative, which kind of sometimes I don't want to be creative. Cost me, so the 16x7, $10.91. My cost, I by the pound. What is this? 16x7. The Invicta. Oh yeah. I gotcha. That's the U value, Dave. That's I'm talking about on sweating of doors. Oh man, I don't know. I just don't know. Like I said, U fan, you know what I mean? I think it resonates more with customers that are and stuff like that. Like you got a chart, you got a brochure. I get it. I know they've been talking about it. Rich says Tony Indoor. That's what I was kind of thinking for. That's the price. That's pretty cheap. So, because I feel like I think Rich has got a little bit. Just they're rating that for price. You know what I mean? But like I said, I try the Invicta doors. Doesn't bother me, but if I can't get them up here, that's the problem. And I'm not driving. I ain't got time for that stuff. The weather conditions. Did anybody get bad weather? I'm just anybody tree on a house lose shingles. I was a little disappointed. I mean I'm glad nothing bad happened, but I was a little disappointed. I thought the weather made it sound like it was going to be a little more severe, and luckily we got missed. So, but you guys ever kind of like me? You know, you kind of like seeing it, but you don't want nobody to get hurt or die. You know what I mean? Like, I kind of like a good storm sometimes, Seeing a branch down or two, kind of go, ooh, man, that was close. A little excitement. But when it tears off your roof or something, it's like, God darn this storm, this sucked. 34 Northwest Door Series as best value here in Phoenix. Nice terms of steel back doors. Oh, nice. No, it just went east. Rich, did you have a few shingles that lifted off? Did you get them fixed or anything? I'm just curious. I got like some special tools. I got a couple more I gotta buy, but they're like certain tools so they can get under shingles real nice. Like I like that kind of stuff. Like I like a tool that makes my life a lot easier. Besides that Surewinder. These guys. There's what East Service Spring sells everything by the pound. Oh, really? That's interesting. Kevin's got what's he got? Had a bad. He says bad here. Couple limbs down. Just missed living room. Woo, with what did I miss here? Window by 6 inches. Dang. Got lucky, man. Might want to go buy a lotto ticket tonight. Dang. It's crazy. Do you have experience? I do not. I believe that's the one that Tanner uses, the North Central doors. And I thought that, don't quote me on it. I wish Tanner was here to but I think he really likes them. I think he has really good luck with them. No Rich. No Rich is metal. Metal R value is son of a get skipped. Is 9 value. Huh. My tech from Minnesota says they are really good quality. Oh, Tanner is here. He says just walked in. Tanner, is that what you use? What is it here? What was it, Central? What does he say? Look at the comments. Isn't that, you like the North Central doors? Experience, yeah, North Central doors. Northern Central, sorry. Better late than never. That's right, man. Made it here in one piece. Hopefully he's still got all his fingers. The T50, so what do you got here? It says my cost T50 is 836. Holy cow, that's pretty good. You know, one thing I was just thinking about for Rich is, does that include Weather Seal, that price? Do they all come with a slide lock? Do they all come with a foot peg? Do they come with a rope? I know I'm a little bit greedy. I'm a little bit stingy, but I deal with a product, a good product right now. I'll find a rope. I'll put a slide lock. Nylon rollers, I'm assuming it comes with. Yeah, Central is great door. He says one of the best. They're coming out with new foam, so better R value and durability. Nice. No, that's good, man. As like I said, you know, there you go. They got a good product. You know, I've never touched them. Like I said, I do believe Mr. Tanner. If he says they're good, man. You know, so I think Rich has got something too. I think Tony's got something with the Invicta. I just gotta find somebody that's gonna bring it here, you know, and for a reasonable price. I think that's the problem we ran into. I think they had a little going with Safeway. Safeway's their delivery is really expensive. They're doing something goofy. So Safeway is kind of out of the ballpark right now. Clopay, like I said, we just don't really. I don't know. Clopay just, I don't know. It's just, it feels so big. Like they just don't, at least our vendor doesn't really take the initiative. You know, I think Rich's place, I talked to the guy, I like the guy, you know what I mean? You know, he just, you know, like just keep it simple. You know what I mean? Keep it simple, keep it real. We got this, you know? Where it says Weather Seal $30, it says includes side lock. Dang, includes side lock and rope. That's a beauty. That's a beauty. It's fine. Weather Seal's extra. That's fine. I get it. Some people don't want it. Tell you what day. He says, I'll send you all the slacks what it says you could ever want. Oh man, you like me back there. He says, scrap them. Now you can only keep so many. He says, I bet. Oh yeah, I play 55-gallon drum every year. Yeah. I remember I had a 55-gallon drum of slide locks at one point too. I don't know who we were using or if they just came or what. And then we also had a half full of a 55-gallon drum of lags, you know. And it was really weird, you know. It's like the vendors were really generous back then, you know what I mean? Because we just used to always, I mean, like it seemed like every job, you know, like especially as a young lad, you're always like scratching your head, like, man, did I screw up this job? Like I got a lot of extra. Where the hell does all this stuff go? I mean, there's extra like. There's extra track bolts, just all kinds of extra stuff. And now, you know, it's like I'm like there should be I'm irritated, right? Like I'm sitting there going through the hardware and I'm like, there should be one more track bolt. God darn it, they shorted me one. They couldn't give me an extra one. They couldn't give me 2 or 3. Oh hell no. They had to make it precise. And there's the nut. Now where's the all right, finally screw my own bin. You know, and then later as you're doing something on the table or whatever, geez, there it is. You know, it's a glove or something. But I used to just have tons of hardware. Like I never used to have to buy it as much, maybe some 5/16 bolts, you know, for back hangs and stuff. But now it seems like Service Spring, man, they got a hell of a business. We're always ordering legs. We're ordering, you know, 5/16 bolts, track bolts, 3/8. You know, it just, I don't know 55-gallon drums anymore like I used to. And I feel bad thinking about it now, even going, man, I dumped those back in the day. They filled up and I was like, well, might as well scrap these things. We got all kinds of these coming. We'll never use these, you know. Safeway just bought First United here in Arizona. Huh. It's been a couple years now, so not that recent. I feel like United was where I went. They were just doing Wayne Dalton back in the day. I think that's what that building was. It was a big building down there. I think it was in Phoenix. Talked to my rep one day about you, Dave. He said he would be willing to check with you through, could get a couple doors. Let's see. Get door delivery. Says your shop max freight is 500, 500 me or less. Yeah, I don't know if we'd order big enough orders. You know, we kind of need like once a week or every other week. You know, we might. I don't know the resis. And then depending on what it is, everybody. It's kind of we have a big ecosystem. Is kind of the thing. You know what I mean? But I was trying to explain to the secretary. Look, I really feel bad for the guys. I said, I would not want this for Caleb, for a sub, even for our guys. I said there was like a lot of stuff I had to really think about. You know how it is. Like when you've been doing doors long enough, and you go, this crap I should not even think about. Like I shouldn't have to worry about the dimples being off at least whatever 4 inches off to the next section, and then my top bracket stuff. You'll see the video. Like I said, you guys will have to let me know how what you think. Straight. He says we keep 2. Straight shooter. Yeah, it seemed like it. I like it. He says we keep 2 at the shop. 1 for wire. It fades. This I don't like the way this is set up. This camera. And 1 drums, cones. The guys takes bonus deal. They get good money for the copper and prepared aluminum. Dang. 2 50-valve drums. That is. Dang. I just need a gas card and a pick 'em up truck. And get me some big old 55-gallon drum with some side locks. What does it say? Oh, copay. Junk compared to Invicta, just saying. First United is 2 minutes from Wayne Dalton. I wonder if Jesse, have you seen that building or whatever, that United? Is it like kind of like almost warehouse looking thing where like a bunch of white trucks are backed up to it? I think that's where I went. Down there. I think this guy named Dave, I don't know if he runs it still down there, but that's where I went down to hang out with one of their installers and stuff. Cool place. And Tempe is just outside of Phoenix. Could be. Like I said, I just remember I was heading towards Phoenix. I don't know exactly where. I didn't know codes. I just punched in the old GPS. This was many years ago, and I just remember it was like whatever 5 or 6 lanes of traffic, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I was just at a dead stop, and I'm like, how am I supposed to ever get stalls done in this amount of traffic? And I was like, there's got to be back roads, and I was like, I have no clue. I got to, how it is when you're somewhere you don't know. You just got to follow the GPS. That's how Invicta is. He says I get all kinds of extra hardware. Nice. What do you think, Rich? Do you get extra hardware with your doors? I'm just curious. That's good. Yeah, we get truck once a week. I could push North Central. He says most don't really need different doors. And you have Wayne Dalton for fancy doors if you need them, but if you got North Central. So what's this? Is Graga? Yeah, Graga saying not great, but they do have a bunch of options in a pinch. Yeah, we don't deal with a lot of that stuff. Very basic doors what we always need. So I just we got basic doors, man. I want something that just works. We got Midland down here. Ooh, Midland down here now with a small dealer, but price is compared to Clay. I thought Midland did pretty good. No, it's Mid-American. I think it's Mid-America. I think that's the one that vendor has. That's really worked pretty good. Yes, First United looks like a big manufacturing. Yeah, it's probably the place. I bet that's where I was at. They just had like white Chevy trucks, and then it seemed like the people, this was like a Mexican guy I worked with. There was a whole line of them in the morning though. They were all lined up. It was almost, I don't remember how the docks were. I feel like the docks were higher than the trucks. Like they were like almost like semi docks. Big building. I walked through it, hooked up with a guy. And we went out for the day, and he had like 3 or 4 doors, and I did one. I did but it was definitely a Wayne Dalton door, is what they were. And like I said, this was quite a long time ago. This could have been 09, 010. So, but I remember it was definitely a 9000 series door because he showed me how he punched a hole back, and I think he just had a nail. And he's like, come here. He's like, you see, he goes dent. And I said, yeah. I'm sitting there going, yeah, you got a damn dent. I go, you got to replace the section. And he goes, no, I'll show you how to fix. And he like pops a hole underneath the strut or something. And he's like sitting there with that nail. It's a big heavy duty nail, but he's like working the dent out. He's like, see? And I go, damn, dude. I go, that looks good. I said, that's a good idea. And He was smart, man. He was right on it. And I was going to go back to the shop because I wasn't trying to make it like a vacation. So I wasn't trying to make it like a super all day affair. But he's like, you going with me next jobs? And I said, I'm going back to the office. I said, I want to talk to the main guy. I want to talk about some paperwork and how they're doing some stuff. Okay. Because I drove separate. But super cool. Super cool. For their installers, yeah, so that's probably the same. They actually, I never seen it before. Behind the seat, I think it was behind the seat, or it was right outside the cab box. They actually got a battery pack. So the dude, like, they had like yellow extension cords on the side. It's just like. Now the thing I didn't like was the extension cord came through. I'm kind of a fanatic bottom seal, you know, because every time a door goes down, I'm always like watching the bottom seal, like there's light. The door's gonna call me out, but it's fine. So he ran it through, hooks it up to the opener, runs the opener to set limits. And it's like the truck battery, so he didn't have to run the truck or anything. It's just an onboard like power pack. I was like, that's pretty cool, especially for back in the day, because we really didn't have those portable Waltz or the power packs. He just went up to the truck, by the driver's door, whipped out the cord, drug her, into the garage, plugged her in, set limits, away you go. I don't know why though. Now I think of it, like I don't know if the house didn't have power. Or the cord, or they just do it off their own, so they don't something. I don't know. That's kind of weird because I'm assuming he plugged it in afterwards. I don't know why he did that now. Because it was like it was a retro, like we tore out. I think we tore out a door. I don't even know where he put the door because I don't know. Maybe they left the door because he had a stack on top, like a nice. He had like even a full view glass door I could see up, and I'm thinking, damn, I'm like that's heavy, and I'm thinking that dude's gonna do it by himself, and. Maybe somebody was going to unite with them through the day or something or join up with them. But that was loaded. And I just thought, wow. I was like, you're doing 3 to 4 doors today? I'm thinking, long day. But they did it by piece. They got piece work. So it was like, he got paid whatever. It was like $67 or something like that. It was so much cheaper in Michigan, for a door, 20, 40 bucks. And when I talked to the guy down there, he told me, he said, man, he goes, labor down here is just way cheaper than up there. You'll never get people to work for this stuff. And I'm like, looking at his price, hell no. I said, like 20 bucks for an opener? Yeah. Jesse Midland still having problems with delaminating shipping defects. I carried them for about 6 years, dropped them for North Central. Oh, it's faded. Take care. Dun, 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 dun. Can't believe how well built the Invicta door is. I'm good, man. I'm glad they're working good. Like I said, I'd like to touch them. Come on, Service Spring, an Invicta door. Pretty much spot on. He says extra nuts and bolts, legs, never short on anything else. Perfect. It's better than being short. So I'm not sure, Chandler, because we haven't used them yet. The dealer is always from me, and the price is high. All the screws are bagged, and track hardware is bagged. That's nice, separated. Not all just mixed together in a big jumble. Some of them are. They're going to be. Most everything I've always had is pretty much bagged. I think I've had any vendors I can think of that their hardware wasn't really. That doesn't bother me. It seems like we just. It's not the end of the world, but when you short me, that gets me a little bit, And like I said, it's always like I said, sometimes Wayne Dalton feels like they just sprinkle, like because they go by weight. And they're always just like, we'll just add this. You know what I mean? That'll be good enough. We got the weight. Just send it down the line. Oh, there we go. This is cool, man. Glad Jesse's on here. It says, piecework is crazy down here. It says we're getting. It's faded again. It said paid 6% of the buyers. What does it say? Buyer's cost started per door. So it's having a door back then. He said I was getting paid 42. Whoa. Let me screenshot this because I got to show this to the wife. So this is good stuff. This is good stuff. Come on. Screen so I can see it again. Change down here, so getting paid 6% of the door's buyer's cost. When I started, whoa, Isn't that crazy? That's the stuff I'm talking, man. Like that sounds like the right numbers. Dang. 2014. Yep. I can't remember, Jesse. I feel like we've talked before. Have you are you on your own now? Are you still working for the company? Because like that kind of stuff right there, like you got a price sheet, man. Like just let's say it fell a truck and it found its way to Michigan, but through an email. That stuff is cool. That stuff, man, that's you know. Cause I lost the sheet. I had the sheet from that one place, and it's just insane. You know what I mean? Yeah. It says, oh yeah, it says that we're a great door. So it's my top 3 to 4, but started having problems with delaminating parts. Oof, very hard to get rep down, and took forever to get things warranted out. Oof, not good. And get both drill tips pointed and pointed screws. Perfect. That's good. Those bite nice and hard. Oh yeah, 18 per opener. Yeah, see, that's what it sounded like. I remember it was all 20 bucks for an opener. It was like whatever, 40 something, maybe 50, 60 bucks for a door. And I'm just like, I mean, at that time, we were getting paid like I think it was 218 like from Lowe's, and Lowe's was on the low end. So we were getting paid for $218 for like a 16 by 7. And then we were getting $78 for an opener install, the labor. And, I thought that was chump change. You know what I mean? And when I seen those, I'm like, it's like, I got to take this and show the guys. Like, and that's why he was from the Upper Peninsula. And he was just like, dude, I'm telling you, he's like, these will not fly. But it was a great sheet. It just showed all the breakdowns and what they, and I just thought, wow. I said, dude, I said, this is just like, I don't know. Go down. Let's see here. Scroll. I don't keep the original work orders, but I remember the prices. Well, I think this was more for like, I think this is like kind of how they paid their guys or something. Like if like a worker would get it, like the sheet, like this is what you're going to get. Because from what I understood, it seemed like the truck was the company's. You had to bring your own tools. Obviously, the customer provided, or I'm sorry, the company, bought they were just labor, and they got to use a truck, bring their own tools. And like I said, the dude had a little tool bag. I mean, there was not much tools on the truck. I think he had a few side bins. He could have had a few more things. He had like a drill, not an impact, a few bits, maybe a couple winding bars, his nail. And I'm just sitting there just like, how's this guy doing his job? Like, I mean, but he was just whipping away, he had a ladder. He was on it. He did a good, they're just like, I gotta bring I gotta bring cable crimps, and I gotta bring this, and I gotta bring a hammer and a flat bar. And this dude's like working with like a hammer and a nail. Like that's all he needs. CRA, this is my 18. This is not getting enough to put key in ignition. Yeah. Isn't enough to look at my phone. I know. It's crazy, but it's a different one there. It really is. It really is. Labor is just so abundant. It's so much cheaper. It doesn't feel like from what I can tell, I can't really say there, but it didn't feel like the cost of living was that much cheaper. It's just almost like, it's like when my, one of the workers came up one time, and he was working with me. And, I remember he was telling me, he's like, dude, he's like Texas. He's like, Texas. He's like, in the morning, he's like, it's a custom. He's like, you just go to like, I don't know if it's every street corner, but you go to certain street corners, and there's like 3, 5 guys there. He's like, you pull up, say, I want you, you, and you. He says, they hop in the truck. You go work for the day. You drop them back off. Next morning, and he said like the whole parking lot and all that was like full of people either looking for work or they're like selling things, I think, like produce and stuff. And I'm like, what? I'm like, no way. He's like, it's a different world. And I'm just like, whoa, so it's just, people work for a lot less. I mean, that's probably in a nutshell. It kind of gets down there to that area of like maybe I'm sure Mexico would feel like a foreign area to me too. That's why a lot of all the car manufacturers got their stuff down there because it's cheaper labor. You know what I mean? So scrolling. Those are HD parking lot prices. HD. What do you got? Those are HD. Didn't say I get 120. Yeah. So what is that? That's so it's the land garage door. Does about 2 hours from. Had a guy move over there, and they had day trial to fill out. Okay, scammers. He called me and actually got a pic of their price sheet, and they told him if they need something upsell, let's see, the more, what do I tell them? They need a whole new, instead of lubing the door, sell them all new rollers. Hinges, shit like that. He says crazy. That is weird. That is weird. There from you, Rich. Tornado, huh? Whoa. Scary out there. It's getting scary. I'm gonna stay on here just for a few more minutes. Appreciate you guys being here for sure. We got 9 likes. That's pretty awesome. Expecting that. Like I said, I wasn't expecting to be as long as possible here. I'm sorry. I got a little long-winded. I was thinking about you guys, and when I talked to a couple guys today, I kept thinking, I thought about those scissor lifts, and I was thinking about the doors and how I would not try to, I don't want people to get burned. I've been there. I've gotten burned many a times, and I just don't want anybody being left holding the bag. You know what I'm saying? Tanner says, Rich guy says, sounds like the garage door school guy. I don't know. Has this guy, we should come up with maybe that should be his name. We should call him the school guy. Does the school have, has he been posting any videos? I haven't seen anything come across. I don't think I'm subscribed to him. I don't think. But I just, how, YouTube will generically pull things for you. I don't think I've seen anything from him. So I just didn't know if he's kind of MIA or if anybody, and I haven't had nobody reach out to me. Hey, I took the course, or I'm thinking about taking the course. I guess there was one guy. There must be other ones out there because, and I said, man, I just, can't really, say I would do it. You know what? I was just thinking, poor Evan must be still out working. Ooh, hope he's doing okay. He's not on the chat, and I know he was working a little while ago. So I figured, hope he was anticipating it taking this long, because there's nothing worse than being out there late when you already worked the whole day and got up early. And now you're just, something's not going right, and you get something done. Sounds like garage door school guy. C says, yeah, but third price and don't show up. And by the way, and I call her, it says shirts. I think his kids, I think his kids are posting. I thought, did he only have one? I thought he had, sometimes whatever he's, I don't know what he's doing. I don't want to comment on that. What does he got? True story, Dave. When I moved out of my 3rd-story apartment, he says jumped on me, went down the street, got me a few. Next picked it up. He says, and the ones I wanted. What does it say? A son. Is it Hunter? Is it Hunter's son? No, I'm just joking. Yeah, it was like $30. $30 in a lunch. Huh. That's crazy, man. It's like I said, it's just crazy different areas. You know what I mean? That's why I'm always trying to talking about on the channel. It's different demographics. Some people are, it's just like when they talk about the housing, right? It's booming over here and it's not doing so good here. It's slow here. We're dying here. It's crazy over here. The demographics are just all different. Just depends on what's coming in. If you got medical or a lot of government stuff, You know, was it, I think in DC right now, right, where a lot of houses are up for sale because a lot of people are getting flushed out. You know, they don't want to be there anymore. So houses are open up everywhere around the Capitol and all that. It was like 30, says tacos. There you go, tacos. I just seen him. He says he has a video from 2 months ago, but yeah, some kid is in it. Great. He says, great training. The next generation says scammers. He says, retired looks like he charged for, what does it say, store bought Chamberlain 7 foot opener. Yeah, you know, like I said, something seems a little off. You know, I really feel like I'd rather have, you know, like I said, I'd rather people put, you know, buy banner signs or street signs, bandit sign, I think they call them too. You know, buy some tools, you know, get out there. Like, that's why I'm always just so impressed, like with Evan, you know, like tonight, he's out there hustling. He's going to get a huge learning curve. You know, every time you touch something, I still do today, you know, I did the one yesterday or whatever, and it was like, oh, it's like, you know, and I forgot my flat bar. So I'm not going to touch my tool bag. Tool bag. You leave the tool bag alone. Do not touch the tool bag. I had to do something a little bit ago, and I even went and grabbed a hammer. I told myself I would not grab the hammer out of my tool bag. Do not do it. Actually, I'm going to change it right now. I'm going to do it right now because this is what we were using yesterday. And I was like, this is like my spare backup one. I keep like right by the door for some weird. And Caleb was wailing on it yesterday because we didn't have a flat bar, and they had that wood trim on there and it's spiral nails. And holy crap, let me tell you what, those things hang on for dear. And he was riffing on this thing. He was only breaking a chunk off like this much. I'm like sitting there kind of watching him. I'm like, hey man, I'm like, you might want to go kind of on that hammer. And I'm like, it's not like I really care about the hammer so much. I just don't want this thing to go and hit you right in the head. And he's like, oh yeah, he says, you know, he says, it's going to come off. And I'm like, And so, unfortunately, it was one of the garages that didn't have any tools in it because I probably would have asked the customer as he was walking by or something. I would have said, hey, chance you got a flat bar? Because we are dying right now. So I still haven't put my flat bar in, so I really need, but I'm going to take this hammer out. This one can stay on the tailgate for now. And this hammer is going in. This is an E-swing, I think. You know, I'm not too picky, but this is in better shape. This looks a little more strong to be reefing on. So there you go. That goes in there. So that problem solved. McDoubles. I see at the bottom there. That's the one. He says, no, Rich. They wanted to make McDoubles. Oh, geez. All right, guys. I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to go eat some pizza. Not good for you, but, you know, something's going to kill you. So might as well die happy, right? Get yourself, what does it say, hammer? Ooh, hammer for, you'll thank me? Let me take a screenshot. If you come across it, send me the link. Oh, crap. Something got in the way here. Let me get back to the... Like I said, you know, I mean, it's like boots. All that good stuff. So... All right, guys. Make sure you keep your fingers. Don't be smashing them out there. Oh, $300 hammer. Oh, I'm not rich like Tony. See you guys later. We'll talk to you. Have a good night. Keep the finger.